from? I just point to the logo on my chest and tell them, Slendy, ego, Slendy, ego, Slendy, ego, Slendy, hey. Hit it up hard, hit it with a strike. From the national anthem to the bottom of the night. I'm in Slendy, ego, Slendy, ego, Slendy, ego, Slendy, hey. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. We should know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Talking Friars here on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Padres knock off the Red Sox. They've won 2 out of 3 in this series. Had Dylan Cease pitch today, had Michael King return in this series, having Ramon Laureano continue to have a positive impact on this team since being acquired from the Baltimore Orioles before the trade deadline. You got Bogey, you got Krupny, you got Tatis even today. So a lot of encouraging things that happen in this series, and I have my thoughts on these games and just the overall picture, where the Padres are at, what they've got this month. And yeah, that's just a quick rundown of what we'll do here on the show today. Thank you so much for the time. Just right off the bat, if you're listening to this on the podcast platforms or you're watching this on YouTube, much appreciated. But yeah, let's start with today's game since that is the one that just happened. Obviously, Padres won at 6-2. This was, one of those where, all right, Dylan Cease, what is he going to give? Red Sox, they've got some talent there in that lineup, obviously. You look at Alex Bregman, who's got an OPS over 900. You look at Roman Anthony, who just got that big deal. He's like the Red Sox Jackson Merrill, like that young cornerstone that you want to lock down, and that's obviously what they did. Trevor Story, not the same guy, but still. Jarren Duran, obviously, someone that was in a lot of rumors related to the Padres before the deadline. Obviously, they didn't end up getting him. But there's talent in this lineup. And Dylan Cease, we're looking for that consistency from him. And today, I'd like to say it was a step in the right direction. I've said that before, though, where it's like, yep, that's encouraging. But can he keep giving, 6-inning outings? He pitched into the 7th. A lot of couple runners, and then that's when Jason Adam had to come in. But with Cease, I think that he was doing a good job of mixing his pitches and, getting some weak grounders. That was the huge double play that he got, I want to say, to end the 6th inning, where he gets it 6-4-3. Just finding a way to get guys to roll over. I saw that today. Got swings and misses as well, obviously, with 7 punch-outs. So really, it's like, yeah, we know the talent's there. But, all right, can you do this next time out when you face the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium? Because I think that's when he would be next lined up. Miss the Giant series, obviously. Can you do it then? Because we know if you're following this team, you're watching the Dylan Cease starts, the big question that we have, or at least I have with Dylan Cease, is can you do it in the biggest moments? And I know it's the regular season still, but in terms of as big as it can get, like what matchup, it's the Dodgers and it's at Dodger Stadium. So he's going to have that opportunity. What is he going to do with it? Is he going to start off really well like he did earlier this season and then not be able to continue that? Or is he going to be able to shove, which we'd all love to see? Like, I'm freaking rooting for Dylan Cease, obviously. But I just don't have a ton of confidence in him. And if you're giving me a top 3 guys in the rotation to get the ball in the postseason, Dylan Cease is not one of those guys. I want to have that confidence in him, but he's not one of those guys. I'm going with Nick Pivetta, obviously. I'm going with Darvish. And this is like knowing like they're going to be built up, obviously. Same thing with Michael King, built up eventually. I'm going with those guys. I'm not going with Dylan Cease. And even as the 4 starter, like we'll see. I think the Padres would obviously express their belief in Dylan Cease, their optimism, right? Like he has the talent. Of course he can do it. But again, those biggest moments, what's going to happen? What can you do there? Maybe he has success if he only has to face a lineup a couple of times because of the bullpen, the depth that this bullpen has. But that's obviously for later down the road. The Padres offense, something that was definitely encouraging. It has been encouraging, I think, for the most part. I know that people can get bogged down and they remember when the Padres get shut out or they have a very light night offensively. And that's easy to remember and stick out. But I think overall, this offense has done a pretty good job since the trade deadline. Last couple of games in this series, they combined for 11 runs. I know they only scored 2 in that first game and they lost 10-2, they weren't going to win that game. For me, that was one of those like, Nick Pivetta, he's not going to do that every time out. You look at the sample size that he's had this year, whatever. But overall, they have been scoring, 5 runs, I feel like, in a lot of games. So I don't have a ton of complaints with this offense. We know it's a better offense. We know that the depth has been improved. So yeah, Ramon Laureano like continuing to find a way. The hopper over the third baseman last night for the walk off, like almost like he meant to do that. But no, we've seen the opposite field power from him. We know the OPS going into his Padres tenure, and it was like, man, this guy is probably one of the more underrated players in baseball this season with the numbers. When we acquire him and I look at those numbers, I'm like, wait, we're getting him those numbers? Okay, yeah, that we can work with that. So it's continued. It's continued here with the Padres. Love to see that. Ryan O'Hearn, I believe, had a sac fly today as well, or definitely at some point in this series. So just the contributions, we're seeing it. We already saw it with Freddie Fermin, obviously. We have seen that. Yeah, just AJ Preller, so far, I feel like he's nailed it at this deadline. Another guy I wanted to give a shout out to, David Morgan. This guy has a 1.71 ERA, and he's not even included in the big five, right, of this bullpen. When you think of the big five, the Fab Five, whatever you want to call it, you think of Suarez, you think of Adam, you think of Morahone, you think of Estrada, and you think, obviously, of Mason Miller. Not in that order, but those are the 5 guys. David Morgan, he has earned the trust of the Padres. And if those other guys can't throw on a day, putting David Morgan in the 7th inning, it's not the end of the world. Putting him in the 9th inning, like, the guy has nasty stuff. He's got velocity. He can get the job done. So I could see him being someone that the Padres rely on in the 5th inning of postseason games to be like, yeah, let's, because maybe you're not going to go with someone or, all 5 guys 3 consecutive days, let's say. Like David Morgan, he has earned this team's trust. I think it's been a great story. So I wanted to shout him out because there's obviously a lot of attention, a lot of talk on the big 5 relievers, but David Morgan deserves it too. Wandy Peralta has had a good season too. So I want those relievers. I know they don't listen, but like, I want them to know still, like, I see you guys. We see you guys. They deserve that love. So good from him today. Inning and 2/3, no runs, struck out 3 guys, and those strikeouts were huge today. Obviously, Dylan Cease, we know about that. But Jason Adam and Morahone to strike out 3 consecutive guys there. There was the bases loaded in that situation. Wow. I know Jason Adam hit his first guy that he faced. I think it was Yoshida. Not off to a great start, but then does the job. They just have such nasty stuff. And so you never want to get into that situation. I know Cease allowed the first couple of runners. You never want to get into that situation, but to know that, like, we have the relievers that can get you out of that situation, potentially in, the biggest games, that's something that not every team's going to have. Or maybe they'll have it, but it's for only 1 lane, 1 inning. And it's later in the game than that, probably, for that person that we're talking about. With this bullpen, there are multiple guys that can do that. And not just 2. There's more. So, yeah. David Morgan with the 3 strikeouts, obviously, like I mentioned. So, the strikeouts are obviously huge come postseason time. You don't want to rely on them totally, but there's going to be stuff that happens. There may be errors. And so to get out of those situations, those great teams are able to have that strikeout stuff in the bullpen, and the Padres certainly have it. Bogey, my goodness. I know he's facing the Red Sox and, former team and all that, but this Red Sox team is a lot different than when Bogey was with the Red Sox, and he has even talked about that. But that had to have felt good for him, I would think. Not just to help the Padres win, obviously, but because it was against the Red Sox. To do that at home, to have homers in this series, and even like today, it wasn't a hard hit ball, but he got the bat on the ball and just found a way to find some grass. And like that's what's going to need to happen come October. You're not going to be relying on the home run all the time. Sometimes you're going to hit a ball hard, like Bogaerts has done a lot this year, and it's going to find a glove, and that's baseball. But just don't strike out. Because obviously this is like elementary school stuff, but When you strike out, you're not even giving your team a chance. You're not giving yourself to even reach base to make anything happen. You put the ball in play, you're making the other team get you out. You're making them go run and track down a ball. So that contact's huge. Again, doesn't even have to be the best swing or you get it off the end of the bat. But if you're not striking out, then you're increasing your team's chances of making something happen there, obviously. Today, I would have liked to have less strikeouts. Looking at the box score, you've got strikeouts from 7 of the 9 guys. You've got multiple strikeouts from Ahern, from Bogaerts, from Laureano. And obviously, it's, these big league pitching, it's just freaking nasty. I don't know how these guys do it. But I'd like to have, less than half of your at-bats be strikeouts. But if the other half are going to be executing in situations and putting the ball in play in the right spots, then it's probably not going to be as big of a deal, obviously. Fermin going 2 for 4, scoring a run today. Tatis 2 for 3, 2 runs, and RBI. That's someone, obviously, there's been a lot of criticism on him. And why is he still leading off? Should the Padres make a lineup change and all that? I'm on the side of no. Like, Schilt knows these guys best. If he's going to keep having confidence in them, and sometimes some people would say, like, it's blind optimism, blind confidence, whatever. But if he's going to have confidence in them, he's in the building. He knows what Tatis is going through, whatever it is. Like, I'm just going to believe in Mike Schilt. Believe in Schilt. Manny, still OPS at 850, made some really solid plays defensively at third base in this series. What's new? But yeah, this was a test, but it's not what we have coming up, obviously, with 2 series with the Dodgers. So now the Padres are at 66 and 52. They're 2 games back of the Dodgers in the National League West. Dodgers are now going to be facing the Angels, so might need to be winning a bunch of these games against the Giants here. I would like to have the division lead be 2 games would be great going into this Dodgers series, but at least have it be at 3. Don't have it be at 4. Have it be at 3, and then you've got them a couple series here the next couple weeks. Then if they can get it down to 1 when those series are over, then it's like it's anybody's game, obviously. 2 games, I guess, still, right? But if you can get it down to 1, that would be great. Obviously, you want to be tied or have the division lead, but I'm even thinking like 1, that's fine. Because then anything can happen. Then you sweep a team, they take 2 out of 3, and then boom, right? Like that's fine. Dodgers, they can lose a series and you win a series, or you sweep and they lose a series. Like then we're really talking here. So last 10 games, Padres are 7-3. Last 10 for the Dodgers, they are 5-5. Giants, by the way, who the Padres are playing up next, obviously, they're 59 and 59. And it's going to be at San Francisco on Monday, 6:45. Logan Webb for the Giants. On Tuesday, it's also going to be at 6:45. That'll be Robbie Ray for the Giants. I don't see any starters for the Padres yet. And then 12:45 for that day game, that Wednesday day game, before they have a day off on Thursday in Los Angeles, and then they face the Dodgers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday game 7:10. Saturday is 6:10. Sunday you'd think would be on Sunday Night Baseball, but no, it's not going to be. They're going with Mariners Mets over Padres Dodgers. All right. 1:10 is going to be that Sunday game. And then they're back home and they face the Giants. So it's Giants Dodgers coming up. Huge couple of weeks here for the Padres, but it's great that they have Michael King back. Obviously, yesterday we knew he was not going to go long. You're not going to be going 6 innings when you're just coming back. But he goes 2 innings, gives up a couple of runs, walks a couple of guys. He was saying, like, I forget the exact pitch. Maybe it was a slider. It just literally wasn't there for him. So he wasn't even going with his full mix of pitches. He wasn't at his top form. So what is there really to take from it? To me, it's like, listen to Michael King. What he says, then take that from that. Don't overreact to it, because there's just not a reason to overreact to 1 outing. in a game that the Padres found a way to win anyway, right? So that's really how I view that. I'm trying to find where the Michael King quote was. I want to say Kevin Acee wrote about it. Yeah. Schilt said yesterday it was good to have Michael back. He would have, I'm sure, preferred to go longer, but what a good sight to see Michael King back on the mound. King says here, obviously not as crisp as I'd like to be. I crossfired a few times trying to go in, missed away or trying to go away, missed in. Changeup wasn't as good as I'd like it to be. I felt like I found it a little bit in the second inning, but still not great. Slider was nowhere. So yeah, it was a slider. That was like, yeah, just didn't have it. I think the release point was off a little bit on some pitches, but had to make those adjustments. And think when I'm really rolling, I can make those one pitch adjustments. It took me a couple of pitches to make those adjustments, and I will definitely be faster with those in my next outing. And yeah, that's pretty much the point. Is like King's going to progress here. And so if you were expecting the moon, if that makes sense, for his first outing, I don't know what to tell you. You were going to be disappointed regardless. But Padres, they found a way to win that game. Jeremiah Estrada, 2 scoreless innings. Morahone, no runs. Mason Miller got some big punch outs, 3 punch outs for him. Suarez, yes, there was the blown save, but was able to come through there in the bottom of the 10th. Laureano with that hit over the third baseman's head. And then Adam comes in there and gets it done. He now has a 1.75, or at least that was after yesterday's game, 1.75 ERA. Now it's at 1.73. I already talked about Friday's game after Friday's loss. For me, that was kind of just like, whatever. It's Nick Pivetta. He's not going to do that every time. Sometimes it happens. Whatever. I was not freaking out at all after that game. And I was disappointed for maybe 10 minutes, and then you just move on. But yeah, yesterday, Bogey with the home run. RBI single as well. Like, this guy, I know he made an error today, but overall, I think he's played a pretty solid shortstop. And offensively right now, man, he is clicking. He is hitting the ball hard. And then even if he's not hitting the ball hard, when he's making contact, it's in the right spots like we saw today. So, and I know people will disagree. I know people have. And I don't care. I literally don't care. But if Bogaerts can do this and everything goes well for the Padres, his contract will be worth it. And what I mean by it all going well is if they win the World Series with Xander Bogaerts on this team, and not as the 40-year-old, but as the shortstop, they win it all. I don't care what anyone says. The contract is worth it because he would have helped bring something to this city that has never been done before. So if you're going to look at it and be like, well, it's still $280 million, one World Series, that's it. Look at the production in all the other seasons. I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe you're not from here. But for me, I care about winning the World Series. And maybe expectations would change after that, but you brought him in here to win a World Series. We get frustrated with Xander because he's sometimes hasn't helped the Padres win baseball games to go win the World Series, So that's where the frustration comes in. But ultimately, if he helps do what Peter Seidler's goal was and what we want, all of us fans want, which is to win the whole freaking thing, that's what sports is about, right? Like, you're not going to win every year. But if the city can win once, and Xander can help the city win once, so that my parents, my family, other people's great grandparents or grandparents, those that have been with this team since 1969, have been with this team before 2000, whenever they started with this team, right? If they can experience it, a World Series parade, experience the moment of winning the World Series, then the contract is worth it. He's going to get paid it regardless. You can do it once. It's worth it. And he would have made it would be a good contract because they won the World Series. And if you disagree, you can argue with a wall, to be honest, because that's just how I feel. Yeah, I guess I heard John and Jim were disagreeing with my take on that. I created content for him. There you go. You're welcome. No, much love to them. All right. So right now, yeah, Padres 2 games back, 3 games up on a wild card spot. You know, they're there for the division. We can talk about the division. I didn't want to because I'm like, well, you didn't play very great against the Dodgers last time out. Let's see it. But when they're right here and they're going to have matchups now, a couple series, I think we can talk about it. After those couple series, if it's 4 games back, then I'm like, no, we're not talking about it. But it's right here. I think it's okay to talk about it. Wild card picture. So you got the Brewers winning the Central right now. Phillies winning the East. Brewers are at 73 and 44. Phillies are at 68 and 49. Dodgers, obviously in first in the West, 68 and 50. Cubs have the first wild card, 67 and 49. They're 2 games up on us. We're 66 and 52. Mets have the third wild card spot at 63 and 55. And they're a game and a half up on the Cincinnati Reds, who are 62 and 57 for that final wild card spot. The Mets are in the final wild card spot. They're 1-9 in their last 10 games. Again, Padres 7-3 in their last 10. So like taking advantage of other teams that are making the Padres' job easier. Got to keep doing that. You cannot afford to go 1-9 in a 10-game stretch. If you want to talk about the division, if you want to talk about home field in a wild card, like, nope, can't go doing that. So yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, coming up against the Giants in Oracle at Oracle Park. If there's anyone else that stood out to you during the series, you can let me know. But I did want to give a shout out to the great partners of this show. Gaglione Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries. They've got the best cheesesteaks in San Diego. They've got some killer garlic fries and cheesesteak fries as well. Check them out. Their main location is on Friars Road. They're inside Snapdragon Stadium. San Diego, by the way, drew 1-1 with Angel City. People, Dodger fans, shocker, they can't read. I posted a graphic of what was going on in San Diego sports yesterday with the Padres, SDFC, who they beat Sporting Kansas City on the road, and then Wave obviously last night. They can't read. They thought that I was making my post about the Dodgers when I was like, today's a good day to beat LA. The Wave were literally playing the LA team. So, yeah. I probably should have expected that, though. Dodger fans, not the smartest bunch. But yeah, so Wave drew 1-1. SDFC, what do they got coming up next? Are they at home now? But anyway, Gaglione Bros, they're on the road. August 17th at San Jose. They're back home on the 23rd against Portland. Chucky and Dreyer scored last night. So, by the way, Gagliones, they're going to be on the east side of Snapdragon Stadium, inside Petco Park, down the third baseline, and in the upper deck as well. So check them out. Again, link in the description for all that. Breaking Tea, they've got Padres and Aztec shirts and sweatshirts. Just click the link in the description for that. They had a sick Manny t-shirt that dropped a week ago. I feel like I'm losing track of time. But a lot of people have bought that for sure. So check that out. They've obviously got a lot of other player shirts as well, and combined player shirts too, if you want to support multiple people. So check them out. And then SeatGeek, code Talking Friars, $20 off your first order when you sign up with your email. Again, that is code Talking Friars. All right. That's going to do it for the show here. The one update that I did see, Ethan Salas, he was cleared to resume baseball activity. So that's good. But I'm not expecting him to tear it up in the minors the rest of the season. And their season, by the way, in the minors anyway, is coming to a close pretty soon, right? So kind of feels like a lost year. Hopefully, while he's been hurt, though, like he's been learning. Maybe he's been watching a lot of big league games. Maybe he's been learning from, uh, you know, whether that's the San Antonio coaching staff or some other big league guys that have played in the big leagues, using this time away to his advantage instead of just focusing on rehab, but focusing on stuff that he can do, mentally and to get better there as well, so that he can be ahead. Um, but yeah, I'm seeing here from Jeff Sanders in the UT. Salas cleared to get back into baseball activity after visiting with a back specialist and team physician Brian Leake the past 2 days in San Diego. See, that's good. So he was in San Diego. So hopefully he had some conversations with some of the players, maybe Francisco Fermin, sorry. Who's who's Francisco Fermin? My bad. Um, Hopefully he has had some conversations with Freddie Fermin, um, to learn more about like how he approaches things, because I'm sure there's catchers that approach things differently, and so it's good to bounce ideas off of each other to learn that way. Um, Salas has been asymptomatic for about a month, said Preller. The question is whether the minor league season has enough runway for Salas uh, to return from the stress reaction in his lower right side of his back this year, or he'll have to wait to make up for lost time in the Arizona Fall League or in Winter Ball. Which I feel like that's more likely that he'll play in the Fall League to try to make up some of that time, and he's going to be facing like the top prospects around baseball, so that can be a good experience as well. Maybe even maybe not better, but similar, or right there, some advantages to be playing there in Arizona, uh, against the other top talent, right? Preller said he's going to be able to catch up in at bats. We would have loved for Ethan to have had a minor league season, but we'll do our best to get him those at bats this offseason against real competition, so he can still look up in the 2025 season, and he's going to have gained something from it. Exactly. Like you don't want to have this year be a lost year. San Antonio's regular season ends on September 14th. So, yeah, not a lot of time. Okay, so Jeff Sanders did write, Salas is essentially easing back into spring training of sorts, although the Padres have done what they can to challenge him away from the field mentally. That includes working with former big league catchers AJ Ellis and Scott Service, former Mariners manager, among others, while he spent most of his downtime at the Padres spring training facility in Peoria, Arizona. So that's great to hear. Yeah, having someone like AJ Ellis, who had a lot of postseason experience, had some experience pitching or catching some really good pitchers. Yeah, that's great to hear that they were doing that. So that's what I got. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend, or if this is Monday, hopefully your week is off to a good start. And yeah, can't wait. Padres, Giants, then Dodgers, and then Giants again, then Dodgers. A big couple weeks could decide where the Padres end up in the regular season standings and the playoff picture as well come October.